Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, warshippers of all ages, welcome to YouTube. My name is SeaRaptor, and today I'm bringing you another battle report from the bridge of Tier VII American heavy cruiser USS New Orleans. I've said this before, but man, I really didn't like New Orleans for a long time, and it's only been probably in the last 12 to 18 months that I've really started to kind of wrap my brain around the ship and really enjoy it. There are a lot of really good Tier 7 heavy cruisers. I mean, the Tier 7 heavy cruiser crop is almost universally good. Surrey, Miyoko, York, Zara, New Orleans. They're almost all good, and they all bring something a little different to the table, which I really appreciate. I'm a huge fan of Zara, and man, I could gush about all of them. Most of the Tier 7 heavies are really good. But here we are spawning into the north side of the Atlantic as a bottom tier, yikes, heavy cruiser. So my initial thought process is, of course, as an American heavy cruiser, what am I looking for? I'm looking for opposing cruisers, light or otherwise, that I can catch out with my fancy American piercing shells. I don't have to deal with an aircraft carrier in this game, although there is an opposing Kearsarge that I have to keep an eye out for. I might be able to use my defensive fire to maybe drive his doofy planes off a time or two. What I decide I'm going to do initially is hang out near this Atlanta, because he's the only person, well, that's not true, the Belfast has radar, but he's the only guy nearby, at least, that has radar, because our friendly Belfast is way up near the sea cap. So I decide I'm going to back this guy up. We're going to keep our guns looking mid, maybe hopefully try to catch a destroyer, snoozing a little early, try to cap B, something along those lines. Playing in this gap early in the Atlantic with a ship that's got a 10-ish detection, right? You see there my base detection in the minimap, 10.8, is a little bit of a risk. It's not that uncommon for destroyers to come up the 8-line gap from the opposing side and be able to spot you through the island cover. And of course, once you open fire, as you can see there, I'm spotted right away. But I do have some islands I can work down there. You see there the opposing destroyer at the bottom of the cap. That's a Fletcher. He would have had me on the surface even if I hadn't opened fire, so why not, right? But I decide, again, I want to hang out near this Atlanta. And you can tell by the fact that we are capping B, there's somebody in this cap. There's the Atlanta. I'm waiting to see if the Atlanta will put his radar up. He does, but we are unable to find whoever it is in the cap circle. Atlanta's radar just not quite long enough range. Whoever it is on the bottom end of the cap. Well, bummer. Not much else I can say to that, right? Some opposing Harlem airstrike bombers going by there to port as I'm still trying to get my guns around for a shot on this Fletcher. I think the Atlanta radar has picked him up. I'm not sure how else we're spotting him. There we go. We've just lost sight of him. And now I notice there's an opposing York on the bottom end of the cap. Now, if I move up behind this rock, I think that's what I'm about to do here, he'll lose sight of me. He'll lose sight of me simply because the destroyer that's spotting me won't have LOS anymore. He already doesn't have a shot on me. And I'm trying to get behind this rock. I guess maybe it's Fletcher that's spotting me. I'm not sure. But that York has made a bit of a critical error. Or at least that's my first thought process, because look at the man. He's completely stationary. He's just chilling. Well, I got AP for that. Now, I'm only able to get my bow turrets over, but I'm really hoping that I get his attention right here. And with that salvo, I ought to. And yeah, I probably got his attention. Now, his engine is out. He repairs it. You see right there. I've got to try to guess the lead now that he's obviously accelerating again. But right as he goes dark, right there, 4 citadels, that is a 23,000 point salvo on a ship that didn't have that much HP left to begin with. Somehow he's clinging to life, but he is on the brink of death. Now remember that York, we're going to run into him later. For now, my team has done a decent job. We own the sea cap, we are down a ship, we've lost a Fletcher, and A is in the hands of the enemy. It looks like we drove one of our Fletchers into the A cap and he didn't make it. The battleships, unfortunately, we've got 3 battleships still clinging to the spawn area like it's their little safety blanket. I'm so tired of seeing battleship play do this. It's so irritating. Yes, I realize you have 20 kilometers of range. Would you please move up and use some of that HP like you want to win the game, guys? Yikes. Yikes. But one of the things that I notice on the minimap, and I look at this and I go, well, they've got a lot of guys on the 10 line, a lot of guys on the I line. Nobody's really in the middle other than possibly that York, and there's obviously another destroyer lurking around somewhere. why don't I move up here and get into the BCAT? I mean, what's going to stop me? I suppose somebody could take a pot shot at me, but so far, nobody seems inclined. I'm trying to figure out which destroyer it is that's spotting me. One of their Fletchers is finally dead. We know the other one is down south, so it must be the Chungmu. I haven't seen him at all this game. In fact, there goes a deep water torpedo crossing my bow. That tells me he's off to my port side somewhere, firing torps across my line of advance. And we may end up with the ability to pincer him between me and this Kitakaze. See, I've got a Kitakaze moving down the 8 line, kind of almost behind the enemy team. Ah, my friend the York, 770 hit points. There's the Chungmu, was firing torpedoes at me, the big meanie. Let's take some shots at him. Really want to kill that York, but that guy is at the extreme edge of my range. One of the advantages that York has over New Orleans, she has more range. York and Zara, and I believe York and Algerie have the longest range of the Tier 7 heavy cruisers. So while we can see this Chungmu, I'm taking pot shots at him. He did manage to sink the Kitakaze, so I'm like, well, bummer. I'll just shoot while I can, I suppose. We ain't gonna have him much longer. And finally, he escapes. So, back off a bit. We've got some ships, opposing ships now, pushing up the 2 line. I want to try and finish capping, and then I'm probably going to have to give ground in the hopes that those guys, we can kill them as they move up into our 3 battleships that have still never left their spawn area 7 minutes into the game. Because, well, who needs battleships to win games? I mean, gosh, silly. But because the battleships refused to move up, we've lost a cruiser. And the early Fletcher that probably bid it in the ACAT was probably a little overly aggressive, but that is what it is. We're down 2 ships. We managed to pick up this cap here. At least I'm going to finish picking it up here in just a sec. As the opposing Chungmu, you can look there on the minimap, you can see he tangled with my Atlanta at literally point-blank range. That did not work out so well for him. Unfortunately, he does manage to get his revenge. The Atlanta not conning his ship very well and driving into a whole face full of torpedoes. So, bad trade, as Tonto would have said. So, with this Prince Heinrich pushing up, I decided, well, I've got people shooting at him on my team. I might as well chip in, get some damage in here while we give some ground. We're still down 2 ships, but this is not this game is not out of reach. Health-wise, we don't look so amazing, but if we can get this Heinrich off the board, and he's shooting at me, all right, well, you do you, I guess. But if we get this Heinrich off the board, we'll claim back one of those ship kills very quickly. The one that I'm really kind of concerned about is our Pommern in the CCAP. You can see there on the health bar in the top left, he is not looking so amazing. He's probably got all 3 of those red ships on the 10 line shooting at him. And the last thing up there backing him up is the Belfast. That's not going to look very good when all is said and done. But I believe we are going to finally claim this Heinrich. In fact, I think he's going to burn down right about here. Yep. Excellent. So we claim to kill back in time. And we claim to kill back, I should say. Our Pommern is still clinging to life, but I don't expect him to be with us very much longer. In fact, the Harlem bombs going in on him now should probably seal that deal. So now I have to figure out what my next move is. Pushing south right now feels like a bad idea. We know the York is down there, and we also know how low he is. So the idea of potentially trying to kill secure the York has some appeal. I do outspot him, or at least the spotting is close enough that I might take some damage, but I should be able to get him in a single salvo. I had originally moved north thinking, all right, I'm going to get up here and try to back up this Pommern, but that doesn't work. The Belfast is the last thing we have left at sea. He basically has to retreat as the Kearsarge polishes off one of my battleships that, again, basically never left the starting zone. And so now we're down 3 ships. Now things start to look quite bleak. So I was like, well, now what do I do, right? Now I'm basically just kind of looking for a way to salvage any kind of damage and experience I can out of this game, because it's not going to end well for the good guys. And you can already see that shaping up right now. The Belfast is not going to be able to stop this push at sea. He's got a Bismarck, a Harlem, and what is that? It's a Gneisenau pushing into his face. So he basically has to just run for his life. I can run south at least on this side of the island. Seeing on the minimap there, you see the Flint. They got a brief glimpse of him moving up the 4 line. So I'm going to load the AP and move south, thinking, all right, here we go. Let's go down here and catch this flint. So that's my next play. See if we can at least bag a quick kill, because a flint ought to be an easy snack for me with my AP in the barrels. I mean, even if he doesn't show me the greatest angle in the world, I should be able to get full pins, even if I'm not getting big citadels. And he's a little below half health. You can see that there on the health bar over there on the right-hand side there. Man, I really want to catch this York. I mean, really want to find that York and finish that kill off. Belfast doing what he can. He basically just has to keep bailing. I'm trying to move down here and support my teammates. We've got this Richie and a North Carolina headed for the gap here. They know that Flint is in front of them, but they're not sure where. He doesn't know where I am, but he's about to find out, because he has kept creeping up this island right in front of me. And as he turns out, he discovers I'm right here waiting for him. Now, the first salvo, unfortunately, is all overpens. Yay, overpens. Lucky for me, the second salvo here, as it finally reloads. Come on, 12-second reload. There we go. Spreads out a little better. 2 quick citadels, and we make quick work of that guy. But the ships up north caught a glimpse of me, and so they took some shots. His port torpedoes, not landing anything, is now the opposing Fijis here, and I'm able to keep my AP in the barrel and hopefully do some good work. There we go. One more citadel. He's got his his port torpedoes going out into the Richie. That's going to be the end of the Richie, as he's going to try and smoke and salvage his ship. I'm going to do what I can to prevent that from happening. We do get a big hit into him, but not quite a kill. The North Carolina, however, picks it up. Now, the Flint, as he died, had left me this convenient little smoke puff here. I only got 1 puff off, but it is American smoke. I've got things in range to shoot at, so it's time to sit here and farm some damage. I have to really hope that this North Carolina is on the ball and can help me take out this Amagi, because once again, the York is playing at basically what amounts to max range. I am just not going to be able to get salvos on that guy and secure that kill. I'm still just... That guy's playing a great game. I'm really irritated. Like, dude, I wish he'd come in range, right? As my turrets traverse around, I'm able to actually fire them both kind of in separate directions here for a couple of salvos. Bow turrets into the Amagi up front. Stern turret into the Gneiss at the stern. Able to just work this smoke for a bit, but again, now the Belfast goes down. I have no one to spot behind me. I have only the Tashkent way over on the 1 line, the North Carolina in front to spot me, and spot for me, I should say. And the North Carolina for now is going to allow me to keep beating up on this Amagi. Now, what I can't figure out here, right? This Amagi makes what should be a grave error. This North Carolina should have AP in the barrels, and right now, an AP salvo from the Amagi should absolutely wipe this guy out. And yet somehow no AP salvo seems to be forthcoming. I haven't quite figured out how he survived that turn, but he did. He's close enough now that he can see me in the smoke. Smoke's expiring anyway, fine. So, turn the engines on, keep the AP in the barrels. I'm looking for full pins here on his casemate and upper works. That York is still alive back there. Ugh. As somebody just beats the bejesus out of the North Carolina. And in just a short moment here, I'm going to kill this Amagi. But the North Carolina is going to go out in exchange. The Kearsarge is going to get him. And now it's just down to me and the Tashkent. So again, the game is a loss. But I'm still trying to look for ways that I can rack up better damage and so on. Now, my initial thought is keep running south down the 4-5 line here. The 4 line is where I'm on right now. And it takes my mind a moment to process, wait a minute, if you're down here shooting at the Kearsarge, those 3 ships in the B-cap behind you are just going to keep shooting at you, dummy. Why don't you turn and use the island off your starboard side as cover while you shoot the Kearsarge? And I get to about right here before I realize, I got to make this turn now. So you're going to see me slow down, hard to starboard to try to make this turn, because I'm not detected. They can't see me make this turn. I quit firing. The Kearsarge has no line of sight to me. So I can make this turn in stealth, get over behind this island, help the Tashkent cap, and hopefully bag this Kearsarge and maybe extend the game a little bit longer. Because again, if I can bait that York back into range, I can kill him with 1 salvo. I've still got that in the back of my brain, right? Like, I wish that guy would come back closer. He doesn't need to at this point. His team's probably going to win anyway. So, steaming behind now, got the island cover. As soon as I feel comfortable that they're not going to have direct shots on me, which is going to happen about here, I open back up on the Kearsarge, trying to help this Tashkent get this guy off the board. Now, the Tashkent has not done a very good job here. A moment ago, he had 15,000 HP. Instead, he's chosen to, slow down and reverse and just eat a face full of battleship HE sitting in this cap. I don't understand the thought process here. He essentially gives up a whole bunch of HP for not much gain, does eventually going to get himself killed here, as the rocket planes are going to be able to come in and make easy work of him because, well, I mean, well, the opposing team is going to kill him with shells, or the Kearsarge is going to kill him right here with shells, but, like, he spent so long basically stationary, he just wasn't able to kimp anything. Wasn't able to accomplish much there at the end. And now, as the lone survivor, the bottom tier heavy cruiser of my tier 9 team, I'm just going to try and wipe up what little bit of damage I can get here. I'm thinking if I can get him to light again, I'll swap to the AP. I'm really hoping to get this cap and the kill, but time runs out on me. They tick up over 1,000 points. Not quite able to do it. Foiled. Curses foiled again. Now, I guess one of the reasons I'm showing you this replay is, one, again, I think it's a little bit of... I'm still kind of learning, I'm still getting better with New Orleans, let's say, right? Like, I mean, you can see the XP total here. I'm a 1,700 base XP in a game where Tier 9 ships barely scraped up 500, okay? Some of that's because I managed to get a couple of kills along the way. Some of it is just because I lived to the end and had a respectable damage total. That Confederate probably helps as well. But some of it is, I think, because all too often, I am guilty of this myself. But all too often, when you find yourself in a losing game, you can get very tilted. You can go, you know, man, we're going to lose this game. I just don't care. Screw it. But if you can stick it out and just keep fighting and keep fighting and keep fighting, you can have a good result out of a bad game. That doesn't make the bad game less frustrating. Believe me, I've been there many, many times, right? But it does mean that you can get at least some cash, some XP, out of it, and so your time is at least rewarded for continuing to fight and continuing to stay in the game and duke it out. Anyway, guys, there you go. Hope you enjoyed that battle report. I'm still enjoying my USS New Orleans. Hope you are as well. Wash your hands. Be safe. I will catch you next time.